there, it's Bree. Welcome to episode 10 of Nectar Nitty Chats. I cannot believe I've filmed 10 of these over the course of the past 8 months. I would have to check on when the first one was, but thank you so much for being here. I'm Bree, so I figured I'd do like a little bit longer of an intro today since it's been a while. But yeah, my name is Bree. I live in Baltimore with my partner Steve and our cat Andrea, who often makes appearances in these videos. I've been knitting now, I would say consistently for 2 years. Picked it up off and on throughout the years, but definitely consistently the past 2 years. I think I've probably almost knit every single day for a year and a half, if I were to guess, maybe more. It's like definitely a weird day if I don't knit at all. And yeah, this is just my little corner of YouTube where I talk about my projects, what I'm thinking about knitting, my fiber selections. I've gone to a couple fiber festivals, planning on going to one in November and then another in May. So I have posts about that or my travels and what I've picked up along the way. I am a social worker by day, so I work with first generation college students and folks who are pursuing trade or military careers, and I do counseling through that. I've been doing that for about 8 years and I really enjoy it. I designed one hat pattern. I sometimes think about designing again. I have some ideas, but it's so much work, and some of the ideas I want to do are garments, which are so much more work than an accessory. So, but I do have one hat pattern that I put out there. It's called the Full Heart Beanie. It's just like a quick, super bulky knit, which is honestly a testament to what I initially started knitting with, which is lots and lots and lots of super bulky. I definitely was really big into Malabrigo Rasta. I still love it. It's a beautiful fiber. It creates really lovely hats, mittens, accessories, and it's super toasty. In the winter when it's very chilly here, my Malabrigo hat is definitely my go-to because it keeps my head really nice and toasty. And since then, I've kind of expanded to knitting pretty much anything and everything. I remember when I first started knitting, my first worsted weight project, I was like, I will never knit anything below worsted. And now I'm wearing a DK sweater. I've knit several fingering weight projects. I've knit socks. I've knit sweaters, shirts. Haven't knit any bottoms yet, but yeah, it's just funny how I just really thought, oh, I'll never use yarn thinner than this. And now I pretty much exclusively use yarn that's thinner than worsted weight. So yeah, I mean, that's just a little bit about me. If you have any questions about me or my life, drop them in the chat. I recently turned 30. We live in just like a little 1-bedroom in Baltimore. And outside of knitting, I guess I like reading. I'm in a book club. I really love just spending time with friends, doing all different sorts of things. I like to go hiking. I like being outside. Definitely, I feel like I'm not alone in this in terms of knitting community, but this time of year is definitely my favorite when it's a little crisp so I can wear a sweater but still be comfortable without wearing my big heavy winter jacket, and the color changes are really beautiful here. So it's been really just joyful to experience fall again. It's been beautiful here. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I feel like I'm certain there's more things I could say about myself, but if you have questions, definitely let me know. And thank you so much for being here. If you are first time here, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. If you enjoy my videos, I definitely appreciate, I think I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, no sneeze. I think I've been working with mohair recently, and I think the mohair fluff just kind of like floats around my apartment and sometimes makes me a little sneezy. Totally lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, if you are new, thank you for being here. And if you like my content, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I think I'm up to like 150 subscribers, which is really cool. So I appreciate every single one of you. It's just fun to really connect with people through this format. So on to what I'm working on. It's been about 3 weeks, and the reason I haven't really been filming that much is I've been busy, but also I don't have a finished project today. I have a couple works in progress, which is unusual for me, but I have significant progress on all of them though, so I have a lot to talk about. But I'll start with what I'm wearing. So some of you have seen this before. This is my Shifty sweater by Andrea Mowry, other known as Andrea Renee Knits. I knit this year. It feels so long ago that I can't believe it's been just this year. And this is probably, I feel like I say this about every project, but this might be my favorite. I am so pleased with how the different colors came out. I think the yoke, especially up here and up, is stunning. I love the kind of muted rainbow gradient that I created. And this was just lots of different fiber that I picked up a DK skein here and there. I wrote down, so I knit this in DK. The pattern calls for sport weight because it's the spin cycle dyed in the wool, and I think held as the gradient and then some other color. It might be two things of spin cycle, but I've looked in the spin cycle. It's beautiful, but it's definitely out of my budget. Like I said, I'm a social worker, so I definitely am okay with investing money in fiber, but I think the spin cycle money would be something I would really have to save up for because it's pretty pricey. I think totally fairly priced. When I say something's pricey, I don't ever mean I don't think it's worth it. I just mean that it's not in my budget. And so I really desperately wanted to knit the Shifty sweater because I knit the night shift shawl and I found that knitting experience to be amazing. It's mosaic color work, which is definitely my favorite type of color work because you're only ever working with one color of yarn at a time because you create mosaic color work by slipping and knitting stitches versus holding 2 strands or 3 strands of color. And so I personally really prefer that. It does create quite a dense fiber. So this sweater is very warm. It's cropped, but it is very toasty, but I often will wear like a tank under it and throw it on over, and this keeps me really, really comfortable. So I wrote down some of the yarns that I used, but not all of them, and I'll explain why. So I used some DK weight from Red Door Fiber Studios. Kate does releases based off of different areas of pop culture that she really loves, and one of them was the A Court of Thorns and Roses series of books, which I read and loved. And so when she was releasing colors for that, I was like, okay, I gotta get some. So there's this like really pretty green, there's this really pretty like coppery orange, that's from Kate. There's this color changing like orange and green, that's from Kate. And then I have several other of her yarns that I bought that were intended for this sweater, but then I just it didn't quite fit in the color scheme that I wanted. So I started just filling in from other things. So this really beautiful golden color I got from Gypsy Soul Fibers, a friend of mine on Instagram, and I saw it in her shop and I was like, this is perfect, because I wanted kind of this like muted gradient. Planning this sweater, I did not plan it to be a rainbow sweater, I just kind of went for it. I just felt it out. I knew I wanted the collar and the cuffs to all. Yeah, so I wanted all of that to match, but other than that, I kind of just was like, I'll feel it out. And then I love rainbows, so I think my brain just naturally was like, it makes sense to fade into the next color of the rainbow. And then by the time I got down like here or here, I was like, I'm doing a rainbow gradient. So, but I also use Tempting You yarn, which is a local dyer here, which is this really pretty blue-green color. And then I also got a bunch of yarn at a estate sale. So like this is estate sale yarn, this cream is estate sale yarn, this kind of like this color here is an estate sale yarn. So I got very lucky because I got a bunch of really beautiful skeins of yarn for $2, $2.50. And then I was able to create this beautiful sweater. And so I'm so happy. I would definitely knit this again. I think I would make some changes. I would make it a little longer. I was really worried about running out of yarn because I did my body before I did my sleeves. And so I really wish I would have. I've learned now to do my sleeves first. I'm really happy with my sleeves lengths. They're not full length. It's kind of like, what, bracelet length? I actually really like that, especially because the sweater is so warm. So it does look really cute and cropped, but I think if I had even done maybe an inch more of length, I probably would have been a little bit happier, but ultimately I'm super happy with it and I wear it all the time. And this was probably only my third or fourth sweater that I ever made. So I'm definitely still learning what works for me. So that is what I'm wearing, my Shifty sweater. Always happy to answer any questions. When I was posting this, it was by far the most interest I ever got in any of the projects I've ever made. And lots of folks said that they really liked my color choices, especially since they weren't spin cycle, because so many folks are kind of in the same boat as me as they want to make it, but spin cycle isn't always accessible for everybody. So I definitely have aspirations one day to use it. I could see myself like maybe trying it out in a hat first. They recently released the pressed flowers cardigan, which I'll pop here, by Savory Knitting, and it's really beautiful. So I could see myself maybe trying to like use the spin cycle for the contrast color and then pairing it with more budget yarn. That's something I've definitely done in the past when I want to use a hand dyed and have it be the star, and then use a tonal from another more affordable brand. We'll see. So yeah, this is normally where I talk about finished objects, but like I said, I have none. I've got several works in progress right now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little overwhelmed. I've said this in the past, I'm a monogamous knitter, and so when I have multiple projects going on, I get a little overwhelmed. And right now I have multiple, but I'm managing because they're all kind of serving a purpose, and I've needed to rest my hands a little bit. So I want to start with the big one that you guys have seen already, which is the first cardigan. I am test knitting this for Hive Knits. Her name's Lizzie. She has her own podcast, which got me really, I mentioned last time, her podcast was one of the ones that I watched that I was like, I could see myself doing this. And she released the first sweater a little under a year ago, and I've been obsessed with it ever since. And I saw she was working on the cardigan, and like I said, I set a goal for myself to make some cardigans this year, and so far I've been successful. And then I was selected to test knit for Hive Knits, and I was just over the moon. And I've made tons of progress since the last podcast because I've been almost exclusively working on this project. So I now have a completed body. So the knitting on the body is complete, and it's stockinette body long rib base. It is super soft and fluffy. I'm really, really happy with this combo. I mean, it feels like really warm, but it's not too heavy. You can see I have the yoke of the sleeves, but I've not started the sleeves because I learned my lesson after the Cosmo, and I am doing the button band before I do the sleeves. And so I have this much of the button band done. That's showing up a little better. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 buttonholes, and then I've made it significantly past the buttonholes. Now this is about a week of knitting, or 4 days of knitting. So as you can see, it's definitely slow going. You think I would have learned my lesson because with the Cosmo, I was also sweating the finish, and I have been pretty much working on this exclusively, but this time I committed to taking the button band a little slower because with the Cosmo, honestly, it was just like really hurting my hands by the end, but I was really on crunch time. Take a little sip of coffee. Aria, come here. Stop messing with that. Aria's loves plastic bags. She's messing with a gift that I got for somebody. Kitty. Hey. Psst. Hey. Hold, please. Okay, I'm back. So, yeah, so I am working the button band on US 2, which is 2.75 millimeter. The good news is those are like bigger needles than what I had to use for the Cosmo because the Cascade 220 I think was pretty thick, and so this is fingering held with, or sorry, sock held with mohair, which is DK, but I think creates like a much lighter fabric than the Cascade 220, which feels like a heavy DK. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think it's just gonna be a while until the button band is done. And yesterday I worked on it a lot. I think yesterday I knit like probably this much of it, which doesn't seem like that much, but I'm telling you, it is really slow going. It's the finished result is gorgeous, and I'll be really happy with it. I think it's a bit longer than I made my Cosmo, and so I think it'll be perfect, like just kind of like, ooh, like cuddle up in a nice sweater, and I just am really happy with it. I'm using Cascade heritage sock, which I still have skein left for the sleeves, and then I have like some scrap left. I am technically like half a skein short than what the pattern calls for, but it's sold out at the store I would normally go to, so I'm hoping I can squeeze in, but we'll see. I might be playing a bit of yarn chicken. I will definitely have the button band and sleeve done by the deadline and have my feedback submitted. It's just, will I have both sleeves done? I think it's doable, but we'll see. But that being said, it's beautiful, and Lizzie is really flexible, so even if I think I'm not able to have it finished quite by the deadline, I think she'll be really flexible with me, because there's also what she's done to be more size inclusive is there's a progressive deadline based on the size, and so I'm knitting size 4, so I'm within this certain timeline, and then if you're knitting size 6 through 8, it's this timeline, and if you're knitting size 8 through 10, it's this timeline. And so I'm on the top range of the smallest sizes, and I think all my knitting will be done. I think it's possible that it won't be washed and blocked, because it took, when I blocked the body before starting the button band, it took like 3 days to dry, and so that was like 3 days of no knitting. But that did give me the opportunity to cast on something, because I literally was just waiting for the sweater to dry, And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what I cast on. I cast on something with my new needles. I got the Child Goo Red Twist set. Lots of people will recognize these. I have my interchangeables that I use, which are the Knitter's Pride Ginger Deluxe, have been really great, but they're starting to show signs of wear. I think because they're wooden. I've had some of the needles replaced, and Knitter's Pride customer service is great. I really have no issues with the needles. It's just I was thinking it might be helpful to have another pair, and I've heard these are basically the best of the best, and so I got them. Love that interchangeables come with their own case. To be honest, it's like an absolute game changer. So here's all the needles. As you can see, I have a pair missing because I'm currently using them. Here's the cables. Comes with some like stitch markers. And here's like the little pins to tighten it. Comes with like a handy, this can never have enough measuring tools, to be honest. And I got all of this from my friend Tammy at Southpaw Woolery. She is amazing. She's based in Canada. And on Tuesdays, I guess the Canada Post does something where they do free shipping labels for like a couple customers. And so on Tuesday, a couple weeks ago, she had posted that she even had one for free shipping to the US if you spent a certain amount. And I had been talking about getting these needles. I'd been looking around. I've been trying to find like the best price on them. And Tammy had them for like $200 US, which is about 30 to 50 less than I was seeing them in the US. So free shipping, plus they were so much less expensive, it was a no-brainer. So I talked to Steve. I was like, we're budgeting to buy a house. I was like, are you cool with me getting these? They will last me forever. And he was like, yeah, of course. Like, it's not like you're buying needles every week. I'm like, no, I haven't bought needles for like 2 years. So, except for my sock sets, but those were gifts. So, and every once in a while I will buy like DPNs for a certain project. But anyway, I hadn't gotten, circulars. And so they came in the mail and I was so excited, and I was really excited to cast something on, but I waited because I really need to work on this cardigan. And so while I was waiting for it to dry, I was like, why not? So I've been talking about knitting this one for a while. This is a present for my mom. This is from a project bag from Fate's Threads. So I am using Cascade 220, one of their heathered colorways. I cannot remember. I think it's like heathered lilac, or I don't know. It is beautiful. I can post the yarn details below, but my mom picked this color out and this pattern, and it is most of you will probably recognize. It is the Ranunculus. So it is a circular yoke it does have some raglan increases, which is great. Lots of texture and a little bit of lace on the top. There's so many different textures, lace, that the yoke moves really fast because it's like you're doing something different every couple of rows. Aria, hey, stop, hey. Sorry, kitty, stop. Okay, thank you. She's just like in one of those moods where she wants to knock everything over. So, come here. Why you gotta be like that? So, anyway, it's moving so quick, and it's on US 10s. I couldn't believe it. So it's on a US 10, which are 6 millimeters. I'm using those. They're so nice and lightweight. That's what I wasn't expecting, because I have some of their smaller needles. Like, I've gotten some random fixed circulars because I didn't want to buy the whole set, and I needed a fixed circular for a sweater project. I think I need fixed circulars for the ribbing on this because I didn't have anything small enough. And yeah, they're so lightweight. I wasn't expecting that, but it's so nice. And the wire is really great. The cord is really great. So yeah, I love working with them, and they make some like fun clickety clack while I'm using them. But yeah, so anyway, this is moving really fast, and I am a solid way through the body. I still have a ways to go because this is for my mom, so she definitely wouldn't wear something cropped like I would. And then I'm gonna just kind of knit the sleeves after. I think wants like 3/4 sleeves. So I have this and a whole other ball of yarn left, and this is all like from a ball and a half of yarn because it's a loose gauge. But as you can see, like you can't really see through it. I could try it on, but it's gonna look kind of silly over my other sweater. But that's fine. Knits on knits, I guess. Oh, did it just fall out? Oh man. Oh no, it didn't. Oh yeah, it did. Drop some stitches, typical. That's fine. It's stockinette. I love dropping a stitch in stockinette, to be honest. I don't love it, but it's like so much easier to deal with than any other stitch pattern. Okay, maybe we won't try this on. Should I give it another go? Okay. I'll try. Ugh. Trying to be as delicate as possible. Okay, I think I did it. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Not gonna lie. Now I'm like, oh, yeah, I think I dropped some stitches. That's all right. So as you can see, it's like, yeah. I mean, honestly, not that much longer and it'll be the same length, but I'm just really happy with that. At first, when I was doing all this texture, I was kind of like, I don't know, because it was all bunched up on the cable, but I think it looks really nice, and I think this will block really nicely. So now to pick all these stitches back up that I just dropped. That's all right. Oh, well, I really need to get, if anybody has a recommendation as to where to get those knitting barber cords, I would really appreciate it, because I often try to just squeeze into it via whatever cable I have. Sorry, I'm just getting these stitches back on. And I drop stitches. Now on this one, because it's stockinette, I'm like not that stressed about it, because like I literally just pick them all back up and it's fine. But yeah, so that's the Ranunculus. I literally started that a week ago. And so, I mean, you can see it's so quick. So that's definitely one. I kind of want to make myself one in the future, but right now I have about a zillion things to do. So that is, and that's by Midori High Rose Knit. I mean, the Ranunculus is everywhere. You've probably seen it. So, and it's super versatile. It's written that you can make it from lace weight all the way up to worsted. I chose the DK because my mom does not want a see-through garment. So that's why I chose DK, and I'd been wanting to work with Cascade 220, and it worked out really well. And it's just 3 skeins of Cascade 220, so it was quite affordable too. All right, last but not least, I have a tiny whip, and it's a sock. So I did show this last time. I think I had a lot less of it done, but I'm pretty much to the point now where I will need to start doing the toe decreases, which is why I haven't really picked it up. I actually am wondering if it is ready for toe decreases. I'm gonna try it on. So, yeah, it looks like it is. Oh, actually not yet. Still need a little bit to go. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the main reason I put it on hold, is because I thought I need to start doing toe decreases, and then I have to like remind myself how I did them previously, which is not difficult. But I'm really liking these. They're fitting really snug. I made a smaller like foot, less stitches, because I have really narrow feet. And this is the West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply in the colorway Pheasant. And yeah, I think these are gonna be great. These have been a perfect like take with me everywhere project. And I've put them kind of on hold because the Ranunculus has become my take everywhere project, because I bought my mom that yarn in July and we are in October and I still have not finished it. So that's all right. She understands. I mean, and honestly, the weather only recently started being cool enough that she'd even want to wear a sweater. So that is everything. I'm going to do a little quick what's up next. I did apply for another test knit, which I may or may not get. If I get it, I'm going to have to really consider if I should do it. I want to do it. I really, really want to do it, so I probably would, but we'll see. I'm gonna let the test knitting, I'm gonna let the designer basically decide for me. If I don't get it, I don't get it. If I get it, then I guess I'm doing it. But my next up project is a project for my dad. I've talked about it a lot, and it's the zipper sweater man, and I'm gonna be making it, this has all the fuzzies on it from Andrea. I'm gonna be making it in this really pretty Knit Picks like garnet red, burgundy red color. Sorry, it's so fuzzy. It's Andrea has been messing around with all my yarn, but it's really beautiful. So that's up next. This is bulky. Oh, I hope I can finish that quickly. We'll see. And then after that, I'm making 2 baby blankets. So I'm making one in this fun, it's Juniper Moon Farms. This is a cotton. It's 94% cotton, 6% nylon. So, and it's this fun like gradient that I paired with this. And I think that'll be really fun. This is for a baby blanket. And so I'm excited for that. And I think it'll knit pretty quick. I found a pattern that's no purling. So, and then I also, after that, will be knitting another baby blanket, which is going to be in these colors. It'll be striped with stockinette and seed stitch, and so I think this will be really, really cute. And I am using the Barocco Comfort, which is crazy soft. Let me look at, I always forget what the fiber content is because it's kind of, oh, super fine nylon and acrylic. So it's nylon and acrylic. I've used it before for baby knits, and it's I think it's good. I mean, it's machine washable, and so I think normally I wouldn't use acrylic and nylon, but for a baby knit, I mean, I just want it to be as low maintenance as possible. So it's really, and it's got such an interesting construction. Like I don't know, it almost feels like it's woven, but I guess it's just a bunch of plies wrapped around each other. But that's up next. And yeah, I think that's it. I have some other things in my Ravelry queue. I want to do, there's a couple knit-alongs that some podcasts have talked about. So the Crayabea Knitting podcast has talked about doing a Lento knit-along, and I do have yarn for a Lento sweater. So, but I really need to finish this test knit and these projects for other folks, because it's tough. I always am like, how can they keep coming up with designs they love and then people keep doing it? I just am, and I've definitely tested less this year, but I feel like I've pretty much always had one on the go. So maybe I'm actually lying. I think last year I tested so much because I was testing accessories, and now I'm testing garments. And so even though there's less of them, they take forever. So, all right, well, that's all I got for now. Is so good to catch up, and I hope you're having a really great October. Thank you so much for being here, and I will chat with you soon. Bye.